The Jordan River, a sacred site for centuries, has revealed a staggering secret that has left the world in awe. As its waters recede, an unexpected revelation has emerged from the depths, challenging our understanding of this historic region. What could this massive discovery be? It's a twist that no one saw coming, and it promises to rewrite history. Keep watching this video because in today's episode, we will dive into the mysteries of the Jordan River's latest and most shocking find. The Jordan River, flowing from the heights of Mount Hermon to the depths of the Dead Sea, is more than just a body of water. It's a place where history and modernity converge, where life flourishes and yet, where disputes arise. This river has seen civilizations come and go, and it continues to be a vital resource for the people living along its banks. Recently, a startling find was made here. This find turns our knowledge of history on its head, suggesting that what we thought we knew might just be the tip of the iceberg. The Jordan River isn't just a witness to history, it's a participant, shaping the lives of those around it. Petra, the ancient city that lies near the river's path, is a marvel in itself. Carved into the cliffs over 2 millennia ago, it stands as a monument to human ingenuity and determination. The city's entrance, known as the Sick, is a narrow gorge that leads visitors to Petra's most iconic structure, the treasury. This grand facade, once rumored to hold untold riches, is but one of Petra's many treasures. Beyond it lie temples, tombs, and remnants of a bustling market, all telling the story of a once thriving nexus of commerce and culture. The Jordan River serves as a natural boundary between Jordan, Israel, the Palestinian West Bank, and Syria. This river holds immense religious significance, especially for Christians, as it is believed to be the site where Jesus was baptized by John the Baptist. This event is seen as a pivotal moment that signaled the start of Jesus' ministry. Historically, the Jordan River is referenced in both the Old and New Testaments, marking it as a place of profound religious events. It's where the Israelites are said to have crossed into the Promised Land, where Naaman was cured of leprosy, and where John the Baptist spread his message. For centuries, the river has attracted pilgrims and believers who seek baptism in its waters or simply wish to experience its sanctity. However, the Jordan River today faces significant challenges. Its once mighty flow has diminished, and the river's grandeur is fading. The causes are many, including climate change, regional political conflicts, and human actions like pollution and the redirection of water for farming and household needs. Jana Abu Taleb, the Jordanian director of Eco-Peace Middle East, highlights the river's plight, noting a drastic reduction in water levels. The United States Geological Survey supports this, stating that the river now contributes only 100 million cubic meters of water annually to the Dead Sea. This is a stark contrast to the 1.3 billion cubic meters it provided in the past. The river's reduced flow is further complicated by the demands of neighboring countries. Israel, Syria, and Jordan all vie for access to its waters, leading to a struggle that hampers any efforts to restore the river's vitality. The reluctance of these nations to relinquish any portion of their water allocation makes the revitalization of the Jordan River an arduous task. The river's future hangs in the balance, dependent on the cooperation and conservation efforts of all parties involved. The Dead Sea Scrolls are a fascinating subject. They were found in a series of caves near the Dead Sea, hence their name. These texts are ancient, dating back around 2,000 years. They are important because they include the oldest known pieces of the Bible. It's like walking through a dry, dusty desert and stumbling upon a cave. Inside, there are jars holding scrolls that have been sitting there for centuries. This is what happened in the mid-20th century when the Dead Sea Scrolls were discovered. The scrolls were written on parchment, which is a type of paper made from animal skin. It's tough and can last a long time, which is why we still have the scrolls today. Some were also written on papyrus, which is made from plants. The dry desert air helped to preserve these materials. Most of the scrolls were written in Hebrew. This was the language of the Jewish people who wrote them. Some scrolls were in Aramaic or Greek. These were common languages in the area at the time. The scrolls are a mix of different writings. Some are parts of the Bible, known as the Old Testament. Others are books that didn't make it into the Bible, but were still important to some Jewish groups. There are also texts that tell us about a specific group of Jews who lived near where the scrolls were found. This group had their own way of life. They followed the Jewish laws very strictly. They lived together and shared everything, and they also waited for a Messiah, a leader who they thought would come to save them. Not all the scrolls were from this group, though. Some came from other places and were just kept at the site. The Dead Sea Scrolls give us a peek into the past. They show us what some Jewish people believed and how they lived. They also help us understand how the Bible was put together and how it has changed over time. It's like a puzzle. Over time, experts have worked hard to put the pieces of the scrolls back together. They've managed to make sense of about 950 different texts. It's a big job, but it helps us learn a lot about history. The Dead Sea Scrolls are a fascinating piece of history that came to light in a rather unexpected way. In 1947, a group of Bedouin shepherds in the Negev desert found some old scrolls in a cave near Qumran by the Dead Sea. These scrolls were wrapped in linen and stored in clay jars. The shepherds sold them without knowing their true value. 3 of these scrolls caught the attention of El Swanik, an archaeologist from the Hebrew University. He understood their worth and shared their contents with the world. The other 4 scrolls ended up with Mar Athanasius Samuel of the Syrian Orthodox Church. He took them to the United States in 1948, hoping to sell them. It wasn't until 1954 that Yigael Yadin, Swanik's son and also an archaeologist, bought them back for Israel. From 1949 to 1956, more scrolls were found in the area. Bedouins and archaeologists worked together to discover them. They explored 11 caves and found many scroll pieces, along with other items like pottery and coins. They also dug up the old settlement of Qumran. This place was home to the people who wrote or kept the scrolls. No new scrolls have been found since then, but the ones we have still teach us a lot. The scrolls are very old, dating back to the time before and after Jesus was born. They include parts of the Bible and other religious texts. Some of these texts were already known, but others were new to us. The Dead Sea Scrolls are not just old writings. They are clues to how people thought and lived thousands of years ago. They show us the different ways the Bible was read and followed. The scrolls also tell us about the Essenes, who were very serious about their faith. They shared everything and waited for a savior, but they didn't agree with the leaders of their time. The scrolls are still important today. They help us learn about the past and understand the Bible better. But before we continue, if you are still watching this video and find it informative too, then just take a moment to like this video and also subscribe to the channel, because that's what motivates us to create more content like this. Now, let's get back to the topic. The Exodus story is a journey of faith, struggle, and deliverance that spans 4 books of the Hebrew Bible: Exodus, Leviticus, Numbers, and Deuteronomy. It starts with the Israelites suffering under severe slavery in Egypt. The Egyptian king was afraid of their increasing numbers and might. God listened to their pleas and chose Moses, a Hebrew raised by the Pharaoh's daughter, to lead them to freedom. God, through Moses, sent 10 dreadful plagues upon Egypt. These included turning the Nile to blood, swarms of frogs, devastating locusts, and darkness. The Pharaoh finally let the Israelites leave after much suffering. Moses guided them across the Red Sea, which God split apart, making a path for them and destroying the Egyptian forces that followed. Reaching the Sinai Peninsula, the Israelites camped at Mount Sinai's base. Here, Moses met with God and received the 10 Commandments, forming a sacred agreement between God and his people. The journey to the promised land of Canaan was filled with trials. The Israelites dealt with hunger, thirst, conflict, false worship, and battles. Yet they also witnessed God's presence and help. They saw a guiding pillar of cloud and fire, ate manna and quail, drank water from a rock, and had the tabernacle as a sign of God's dwelling among them. Upon reaching Canaan's edge, they sent 12 spies to explore. 10 returned with frightening reports of giants and strong cities, which made the Israelites too scared to proceed, despite Joshua and Caleb's encouraging words. God's response was to have them wander the wilderness for 38 years. During this time, all the adults who had left Egypt passed away, except for Joshua and Caleb. After these years, they arrived at Canaan's border. Moses gave his last speeches, urging them to remember God's laws and blessings and to stay true and obedient. Moses climbed Mount Nebo, where God showed him Canaan from a distance. Moses then passed away, buried by God in a place unknown. Joshua took over as leader, guiding the Israelites across the Jordan River into Canaan. Their first victory was at Jericho, where the city walls collapsed after they circled them for 7 days, following God's command. The Exodus story is central to Jewish and Christian beliefs. Yet, it remains a topic of debate among historians and archaeologists due to a lack of solid evidence confirming its historical accuracy. However, a site near the Jordan River, called Khirbet el-Mastara, about 5 miles north of Jericho, could offer insights. Dated to the early Iron Age, it aligns with when the Israelites are thought to have entered Canaan. What's intriguing about Khirbet el-Mastara is its appearance as a nomadic camp rather than a settled community. The site features low stone walls forming circular or oval shapes, likely animal enclosures, not homes. Pottery fragments found there match the early Iron Age and are found outside these structures, suggesting a temporary setup. This discovery could provide valuable clues about the Israelites' presence in the region, adding a new chapter to the story of Exodus and our understanding of ancient history. In the Negev Desert, a place of harsh beauty and ancient secrets, lies a site that has puzzled researchers for years. The land is dotted with stone structures, not houses, but corrals for animals. The people who built these did not live in them. They lived in tents, moving with the seasons, following the rains and the pastures for their herds. This way of life is not new to the Negev. It is the way of the Bedouins, who have called this desert home for centuries. Dr. David Ben from Ariel University and his colleague from America, Ralph Hawkins, have looked at this site with fresh eyes. They see a connection to a story told for generations, a story of a people on a journey from bondage to freedom. And they suggest that these stone structures might be the work of the Israelites, a people known for their nomadic past before they found a home in Canaan. The theory goes that these were not mere animal pens, but a line of defense, a shield against the dangers of the wild and the threat of theft. The Israelites, carrying with them their flocks and herds, would have needed such protection on their travels. But there's a twist. The soil inside these structures is too clean, too free of the usual signs that would let us date them using common methods like carbon dating. This clean soil is why this site has been missed by many before. But if Ben and Hawkins are right, this could be a groundbreaking discovery. It could be the first physical trace of the Exodus, a story that has lived in texts and traditions, but never before in the soil and stone of the Negev. So is this truly an Israelite campsite? To find out, archaeologists are turning to the tools of their trade, methods that read the history hidden in the earth. One such method is optically stimulated luminescence. It's like a time capsule, where electrons trapped in the soil by natural radiation are released by light, telling us when these stones were last exposed to the sun. Another tool in their arsenal is phosphorus analysis. Phosphorus lingers in the soil where life has been, where animals have roamed and people have lived. By measuring the phosphorus, they can sense the echoes of activity from long ago. In the quest to understand the past, archaeologists at the site of Khirbet el-Mastara are like detectives. To test this idea, they look at the soil between the stone walls. They check for phosphorus, a sign that animals were there. More phosphorus means it's more likely that animals lived there. This is just one piece of the puzzle. Finding out who built these walls is tough. The things people left behind, like pottery, can tell us where they came from and what they liked. But in this region, many groups had similar styles. So, it's hard to say for sure who was who. Dr. Ben and his colleagues are also looking at religious practices. These can give us hints about what people believed and valued. They plan to dig at another site called Uja el Foka. They hope it will give them more clues about who lived in Khirbet el-Mastara. This search for answers is exciting but slow. It might take years to know for sure if this was an Israelite camp. And even if they find out, they won't be the first to walk this land. Many have come before, each leaving their mark on history. As they dig and study, the archaeologists are piecing together a puzzle that spans millennia. Each grain of soil, each trapped electron, each trace of phosphorus is a clue. And with each clue, they come closer to answering the question: who walked here? Who built these walls? And did they, as Ben and Hawkins believe, come from the wilderness on their way to a land promised to them so long ago? Well, the answers still lie beneath the Negev sun, waiting to be uncovered. The story of Khirbet el-Mastara is still being written. Each soil sample and pottery shard adds a line to the story. Long ago, before the time of the Israelites, the banks of the Jordan River were alive with ancient human creatures. About 60,000 years back, this place was full of life. These early humans, whose names we do not know, hunted big animals. One of these was the aurochs, a kind of wild cattle that no longer exists. At a place where the Nahal Mahanaim stream meets the Jordan River, bones have been found. These bones tell us that this was not just any hunting spot. It was a place of skillful hunting. The people back then used the land itself, like the stream and plants, to catch and kill their prey. A study in the Journal of Archaeological Science talks about this. It says the Nahal Mahanaim was a place made for hunting. What stands out is how they hunted with just a few tools. Usually, people from that time had different tools, like scrapers for making animal skins into clothes or shelters. But here, they mostly had sharp tools, like spearheads and knives for hunting and cutting meat. It seems like they only stayed at this place for short times, maybe just a week, to do a specific job. They came, cut up the animals they caught, and then went to the next place. How did they take down such big animals with simple tools? This question also puzzles the archaeologists who study the Nahal Mahanaim site. The ancient tools unearthed at the archaeological site tell a tale of bravery and survival. These were not just any tools. They were sharp spear tips and cutting instruments designed for close combat with wild beasts. This finding turns our understanding of ancient hunting on its head. It seems these early humans were not mere scavengers, but bold hunters who took on animals much larger and more formidable than themselves. Yet, this is not the oldest trace of human presence in the region. An even more astonishing discovery was made along the now dry banks of the Jordan River. Here, fish teeth were found, dating back an incredible 780,000 years. These teeth belonged to large fish that prehistoric humans caught and expertly cooked near the river in what is today northern Israel. The way these fish were cooked, slowly and at a precise temperature, suggests a deep knowledge of culinary techniques, far more advanced than previously imagined. This discovery sheds light on the diet of early hominins who journeyed from Africa to the Levant. Fish, rich in protein and omega-3 fatty acids, played a crucial role in their diet, contributing to brain development and overall health. Also, fish provided a dependable food source, improving the economic and social conditions of these early humans. The research also confirmed that the ancient Hula Lake, linked to the Jordan River, was home to now extinct fish species. These findings open up a world of questions and possibilities. So, that's it for today. But before you leave, let us know your thoughts on this in the comment section down below. Also, just don't forget to like this video and also subscribe to the channel for more. Until then, keep exploring.